Want to design your very first business card in Adobe InDesign? Well, in this tutorial, I'll show you how to set up and design a professional looking business card step by step with no experience needed. And by the end of the tutorial, you'll have a professional looking card ready to go. For those who don't know me, my name is Darren Goddard, creative production specialist. Anyway, enough about me. Let's jump into the video. This is what I'm going to show you how to build today in InDesign. So let's get started. So what we need to do first is create a new document. So that's Command N on a Mac, Control N on a PC. For the size, you'll need to find out which is the size needed in your country. As I'm based in the UK, the size of business cards is 85mm by 55. So I'm going to type that into here. So 85, tab, 55. One page, one column. Don't worry about the gutter because we've only got one column. Margins, so I'm going to take these off for now because we don't need any margins. And what you need to do, obviously this is going to go to print, so you need to put some bleed on, so when it's finished and cut it will have bleed on it, so you won't get a white line around your image. So I'm just going to put 3mm because that should be enough for a business card of this size. So then we hit create, and then we got a blank document. Just going to zoom out slightly. So this red line here is your bleed, and then this purple line I've set to 0, which is your margin, which indicates your trim. So the first thing that we want to do is set some colors up. So to speed things up a bit, I've actually got some colors written down which will be the correct colors which we want to use there. So if not, it will be under window, color, and then swatches, or the shortcut is F5. So as you can see, I've got a couple of colors left over from a previous project, so I'll just delete both of those. So we've got a fresh palette. So go up to here, new color swatch. So we'll make the dark blue first. So that'll be 100 cyan, 85 magenta, 0 yellow, and 71 black. So it's up to you. You can either leave it as a color values here as a name, but in this instance we'll call it dark blue. And then we got that into there. So what we'll do now is we'll create the orange color. So same again, file, new color swatch. It defaults to the previous one, so call that one orange. And the values for this is 0, 54, 89, and 0. Once again, we'll hit OK, and then we've got both our color swatches sorted out. So the next thing I want to do is actually put the background in. So we've got the shapes. So what we'll do, we'll go over to the pen tool, select that. We'll make sure the fill is selected, but we want to do the blue first. So I'll just come over to here and hit the dark blue. And then from about here, I'll click, go down to about here, click, hold down shift to constrain it. Actually, it finished the shape. So there we have it. So we've got the shape. So what we want to do now is obviously we need bleed on this document. So I'm just going to go to the direct selection tool, which is this one here. Click on this point and just pull this out on the same trajectory to there. Same with this one, pull it out to there. Pull that in a straight line out to the bleed. So now, as you can see, we've got bleed now. We can actually get rid of this point here. So I can select that, backspace. We don't need that one. Right, so we've got the dark blue in position now. So we need to add the yellow color. So we'll go back to our pen tool. This time we'll obviously make sure the orange, I said yellow, but obviously it's orange. We'll make sure the orange is selected. See what I did there? I didn't deselect the shape first, so you need to make sure you deselect. So you can hold Command down on the Mac, click on somewhere else, and it will deselect it. So now I can select the orange and draw another shape. So we can go up here, and then we can go across to here, back to the corner, and just complete the shape. There we go. So we've got that one there. So what we see now is obviously it's above the blue. So if we do a right click on the mouse and then we go over to arrange, send to back, and it puts it behind the blue color. So now we need to do the little triangle in the corner. So once again, we've got our pen tool selected here, orange. So we can just go click, 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 and click. And this time, obviously, we want the orange in the foreground, so we don't need to push it behind. So what I like to do now is I actually like to keep things on layers in a special order, so we know we're moving and we don't pick up the wrong thing. So we'll go to the layers palette and I'll just rename this one background. This way we know what we're dealing with. I'll just double click on this one and name this background. Okay, that, and then we can actually lock that, and that way when we're working we can't select that by mistake. So what we'll do now, we'll make some other layers. So we'll have one for the text, so we'll call that text, and we'll have one for the logos or icons as they are. So we'll call that icons, and then we'll just reposition that. So we've got the text, the icons, and the background. So that's all in position now. I think what we'll do now is we'll get some text in, and then for the text, we'll just select the text tool. We'll drag a box because we're going to be putting 2 lines of copy in. So what you can do now is you can select whatever font you want. I'm going to use Avier because I quite like that font. So I'm going to type in my name, select it all by Control A, and I'm going to go up to type, change case, uppercase, and now it's made it all in capitals. So I'm going to change that now. I'm going to select all by Command A, go up to there, and I'm going to make it black. And as you can see, because it's too big, it's turned it over. So we just go up to here and we can just open the box up slightly. So we've got a gap here. I like to always work so it's tight. So if you go into Command B, which brings up this, and then baseline options, and the offset is accent at the moment, I always set this to cap height. And then you see it jumps up there. And if you hit Command Option on a Mac with C, it then tightly goes to it there, and that way you'll always know that when you're positioning things, you're going to get the dimensions right. So that's for the heading of my name. So we'll come down here, we'll open that up again, just put another return in there, and then what we'll see here, we'll have to change the font, otherwise when I type it in it's going to be much too big. So we'll make that 7 point, and we'll change that to book, and then we'll just type in creative production specialist. There we go, creative production specialist. What we want to do now, we want to actually change the color of this because we don't want it in black, we want it to use this blue color. So again, I'm just going to marquee over to select everything, go to my swatches, and with the type tool selected, I'm just going to make it the dark blue. As you can see, we've got a nice bit of leading and the copy set as it should be. So once again, I'm going to click that, Command Option C on a Mac, and it will be Alt Control C on a PC. So it just makes it tight against the copy. So we need to add a line now because we'd like to have an underline. So once again, deselect it. I'm going to pick up the line tool here. And I'm just going to hold down Shift to constrain the line and just draw a line. So we'll go about there. And then as you can see, I haven't got the actual stroke selected, so we need to flip that around. So we've done that, and then we can control the weight by going here, and it's 1 point at the moment, which is probably going to be okay. Let's make it 2, and that's a bit too big, so we can go 1.5, and then we've got a bit of a fatter line there. which is quite nice. So I'm going to go Command 1 on my keyboard, which will give it actual size, and then I'm going to hit W, which we're preview mode. So I think that looks pretty good. So zoom up again so we can continue working. The next thing I think we'll do is we'll finish off the copy down here, and then we'll go and put the logo in at the end. Obviously we can reposition this when we've got them in. What I'll do now is I'll actually put a guide in, so we've got a line there. As you can see, if we zoom up, there's a space there and a space there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click in there. I'm going to put a space in, and then I'm going to use Option left key on a Mac, Alt left key on a PC, just to put it back into the right position. And the same for the bottom one. Just turn it back. And there we go. Now it all aligns perfectly. So the next step will be adding in the logo, icons, and the copy. So just going to move that up slightly. There we go. So what we'll do is we'll do Command D on a Mac, icons, and then you want to hit show import options, open. So what I've done here, I've built an Illustrator file with all the logos the same size and in the same position on different layers. So if we go to layers, we can see the names of all the layers here. So the first one we want is the address. So we'll go down to the address one, which is called location, and there we see it. So we'll open that, and then we'll just drag out there so we can make it the size we want. So that for now we'll do it that size, but I think that's going to be a bit too big. So what we'll do is select it, Command Shift on a Mac, Control Shift on a PC, and just scale it down to the size we require. So for now I think we're going to go for that. So what we'll do now is we'll duplicate that. So the easiest way to do that is hit Option on a Mac and drag and hold Shift down to constrain, or Alt on a PC with Shift as well. And now what we can do here is we can do a little trick. Rather than bring the image in again, we can go up to Object, Object Layer Options. Just move it on from my other screen. And now this shows us all the different layers which are available on that Illustrator file. So the second one we want is the web one. So website blue, and we'll OK that. And then we'll have to do the same little trick, Command Option C, and that will make sure that it fits it correctly. Again, we can duplicate that down. Same again, layer options. We'll go to email because that's the next one on the list. OK that. Same shortcut again. Bring that down. And then again, oh, and then up to object, options again, turn the email off and look for the phone. Cool. So next we need to do is align all the icons and make sure they're the same size. So what we'll do, we'll make sure the width's the same on all of them. Zoom up, grab a guide, select a guide there, another guide there, and we'll just resize them so they're all the same width. Like that. Great. I'm just going to grab those guides and delete them because they might get in the way later on. So now select all those, align them to the same guide here. Now we're going to go for adding the text. I'm just going to select that, make a copy of that again by dragging it, delete that. And then what I'll do is I'll actually change the font weight to light, and I'll make it 6 point. And for speed, I've written down what I'm going to put in the card. So it would be your address here. And let's do that to the box so it's nice and tight on it. Pull that down. Make sure it's centered on the icon. And we'll add the email in again as a placeholder. You can see we've got a little plus here because obviously there's too much copy for the size of the box. So we will just pull that out and that'll let the rest of it come out. And we've got this jagged line because I've got spelling on. So it will dynamic spelling. So anything that doesn't look correct, it will actually highlight it to you. But if I go into preview mode, obviously that removes that as well. Email. And then the last one will be the phone number. So once again, we'll copy that. So there we have it all in position. What we'll do now is we'll group these two together. So when we move it, it's a bit easier. So it's Command G on a Mac, Control G on a PC. Just do it to all of them, making sure they're centered on the actual icon. Now we can zoom out slightly and just check the spacing, because obviously because this is higher, you're going to get different spaces. So what I like to do is just do it all a bit manually and just visually do it. Because if you try and do it using spacing, because they're different heights, you're not going to get the correct result. So we'll just play around with it a bit. It looks a bit tight, so we can just move that down slightly. If you find that when you hit the arrows to move things, they're going a bit too fast or not fast enough, you go up to InDesign preferences, and then you go into units and increments. You can actually change the units here. You can also use your change your kerning, your tracking, and other things here. So I like to put a 0 in there, so 0.25 millimeters, and then when I hit the keyboard down arrow, it doesn't move much. But if I hold shift down, it will move 10 times faster. So that's quite a little good tip there. Right, so what we're going to do here as well, I'm going to make this a bit smaller and this a bit bigger. So let's pump this up. It's better. Again, I'm going to have to do the old Command Option C and just reduce this down slightly. That's better. So it looks more like a heading now and a tile. So just move that down. I'm going to group these all together and then just make it all big. That's better. So, and then we've got this sitting here. Select these and make these a little larger as well. So we'll sit this point here, so it will scale from that point there. And we'll just make those a little larger. So there we have it. We've got a copy. Our logo's all in position now. So what you can do now is you can just play with these to get them visually looking nice. So spacing looks good. Right, so what we'll do now, just tweak that one a little bit more. Right, so we'll go up to our layers palette. And when we name this icons, I should have made it logo. So I'm going to change that to logo. Right, so we've got our text all in that layer, our background, and then now we're going to add the logo. So I'm going to lock that one and hit the logo here. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get the Finder open, and I'm going to grab the logo and I'm going to drag it and just drop it onto there. I've got a tutorial which I'll put a link up above to showing you how all InDesign, Photoshop and Illustrator all work seamlessly together with drag and drop, placing files, etc. It's well worth a look. So now we'll go the same process, Command Shift to constrain it, and we'll just make that smaller. I need to move that up there so we can see it over the white. I'm going to hit the W key again so I can see all the guides, and then I'm just going to zoom. I'm just going to reduce the size of the logo slightly and reposition it. This is when it's good actually to use your W key, because you can see up to the trim marks how big the logo is going to be. So to me that's a bit too large still, so you need a bit of space around it, because otherwise it looks too cramped and not good graphic design. There we go. So there we have it. We've got a nice little bit of spacing around it. Perhaps we can go to the right slightly, and it fills that gap pretty good. So we've now completed our business card. You can always go in and make a few tweaks if you like to your liking. So I'm just going to get the text layer. I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller. And I think I will go and reduce the point size again, because obviously we've scaled it up so it looks a bit too fat. So 1.25. I think that's a lot better now, a lot better size. So we'll go back to layers, make sure everything's okay. And I'm just going to space these out slightly more, just to fill the space a little bit better. Right, so there we have it. We've completed the business card. So the next thing to do is save it. So we'll call it biz card demo. Save it into there. And now we want to make a PDF of this so we can send it off to print. So we'll go up to the file menu and we'll hit export. So it will go into the folder, or if it doesn't, then you point to the correct folder. Hit save. We want high quality print. It says modified because I've added some crop marks. I've offset the bleed to match the bleed settings, otherwise the crop marks will overprint the bleed, which isn't good practice. We'll hit export. So we go to a demo, open up the PDF, and there we have it, all ready to go to the printers. This is another one which I've built here. I'm going to put a link in the description where you can download these source files and have a little play yourself and create your own business card using various fonts and colors of your choice. And that's it, your first business card in InDesign, clean, simple and ready to use. If you found this tutorial helpful, please consider giving me a like and subscribing to the channel for more content similar to this. And there's a link in the description where you can download these files as well. And just before you go, check out my next video. It's all about how InDesign, Photoshop and Illustrator work in synergy as one app.